Today on Investigate TV Plus, a cancer-causing toxin found in drinking water around the country. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. We uncover the impact of contaminated water and how it may have been flowing through your taps for decades.
I think that calls for a health emergency, 100%.
How one town could serve as a roadmap to help other communities.
Apple AirTags are billed as an easy way to keep track of your keys in your wallet, but the tiny devices are also being used to track people without their knowledge. We investigate what's being done about this and what you need to know to keep your family safe.
Plus, a ray of hope for patients dealing with a debilitating condition.
Most of them just stopped their medications because they didn't need them anymore.
How light is being used to ease their suffering from chronic pain.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, nearly half of the nation's drinking water has detectable levels of cancer-causing toxin known as PFAS.
The study is the first time anyone has tested for and compared PFAS in tap water on a broad scale throughout the country.
The CDC calls the chemicals a concern as they have been used by manufacturers since the 1940s to make products commonly found in homes like non-stick cookware and stain-resistant carpet. Some communities that have been exposed to PFAS through their drinking water have taken action to stop the contamination.
Investigative reporter Andy Parati has an in-depth look at what's known as the forever chemical and why some people are pushing for more testing.
Thank you, babe. Buckled?
Callie Swafford takes us on the road near the North Georgia mountains in search of an essential resource, clean water.
It's just what we've had to do and what we feel is like our best option.
It's a 20-minute drive from her home outside Rome, Georgia, in her minivan.
You ready, baby girl? Let's go.
A routine Callie says is necessary to ensure her family's drinking water is safe after the state discovered high levels of a cancer-causing toxin in a river Rome used for its drinking water 8 years ago.
It feels very third world, especially like I said when my daughter was a baby and I would have her strapped to my back and I'm 20 minutes away collecting water so that we can feel safer.
To respond to the contamination, the city shut down its primary water intake facility in 2016, using another river for its water. It's also building a new multi-million-dollar plant that will eventually remove the toxin. The chemical of concern, perfluoroalkyl, or PFAS for short, used by carpet manufacturers upstream and deposited into the Oostenaula River for decades, linked to high blood pressure, cancer, and birth defects.
We don't know the complete scope of how this will affect our bodies, how it will affect our babies. I just want to know, is there as much cause for concern as what is being presented?
To find out,
looking at 54 minutes of flying time.
We traveled hundreds of miles to a North Carolina city that uncovered a similar problem in its water in 2017.
Our pleasure welcome you to Wilmington. We have a local time of 11:21.
And how it took action could serve as a roadmap to how Georgia might respond.
This is the Cape Fear River. It provides drinking water to the city of Wilmington and other communities. And just like the city of Rome, its source of contamination is upstream, linked to a company that dumped PFAS into its water for decades.
So this is the Northeast Cape Fear.
Kemp Burdett is head of the Cape Fear River Watch, an environmental watchdog group.
Over 500,000 people were all impacted. They all found out on the same day that their drinking water supply was contaminated. It was contaminated by a toxic, dangerous compound, and that there was nothing we could do about it.
To measure the impact, Burdett and hundreds of Wilmington area residents took part in a study conducted by North Carolina State University that tests their blood for the toxin. The results? It detected PFAS in almost everyone who participated, no matter where they lived. Burdett's blood among the most contaminated in the entire study.
It's certainly shocking and certainly kind of terrifying.
Sanjay Bedish is Kim's doctor.
Which is alarming because it indicates that he is at much higher risk of certain medical conditions. So we worry about hypertension, we worry about kidney cancer, renal cancer, testicular cancer.
Dr. Biddish's blood results also revealed high levels of PFAS. While concerned, he says the results arm him and his patients with important information on how to respond, including increased medical screenings to catch potential illnesses early.
Without that information, without the blood testing and urine testing to see what individuals' levels are, you're just sort of driving blind.
Back in Rome, Georgia, Callie wants a similar study conducted here.
I think that calls for a health emergency, 100%.
The Georgia Department of Public Health said it does not have plans to conduct testing in affected areas for now. Instead, health officials point to reducing your exposure to PFAS. Suggestions include using an alternative water source or installing a water filtration system in your home.
PFAS are not just found in drinking water, it can also build up in fish. A study by the Environmental Working Group discovered levels of the toxins in freshwater fish from coast to coast. Researchers examined 500 samples and found levels of PFAS in freshwater fish were nearly 300 times higher than in commercially raised fish. EWG's study estimates eating just one freshwater fish a year could be equal to drinking a month's worth of water laced with a forever chemical. Some states have set PFAS limits related to fish consumption, including Wisconsin, Michigan, and Massachusetts, while some have posted warning signs to notify anglers that fish have previously tested positive for high concentrations of PFAS. And our investigation into PFAS continues. Reporter Andy Parati also went out on the water with scientists in Georgia who are tracking and testing fish for the chemicals. You can find his story on their research and its impact on InvestigateTV.com.
Laser technology could hold the answer for millions struggling with chronic pain.
And I'm a skeptic. I have to tell you, I have absolutely noticed that the pain and the tenderness is much less.
Still to come, an in-depth look at the potentially life-changing treatment option.
But first, Apple AirTags have sparked stalking complaints across the country.
They're so small and so easy to hide.
We dig deep into the dangers associated with these trackers and how you can stay safe.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
Chances are you recognize that sound. That's the beep of an Apple AirTag.
The popular trackers are everywhere these days, helping people find personal items that have been misplaced, lost, or even stolen. But the device has a downside when it comes to safety.
Your reporter Kristen Crowley investigates the unwanted tracking of people and how it could affect you.
That sound is supposed to bring you a sigh of relief, because it means that missing purse, keys, or even pet can be found. And in the years since Apple first introduced the AirTag, the benefits have gone beyond some expectations.
So if I hadn't had that AirTag to show me where it was so early this morning, it's very likely that there could have been thousands of dollars more damage to my vehicle.
Take Joshua Wiley in Memphis, for example. His car, despite being under the watchful eye of a security camera, was stolen. But thanks to an Apple AirTag, he was able to lead police right to it. The same thing happened in Charlotte.
One of our victims relayed to officers he had an AirTag in one of the bags that was stolen.
Where a tracker led police right to a suspected thief. Helping people find their belongings is what AirTags are intended for. But that's not always how they're used.
Apple detected that there's one in my car.
In your car?
These devices aren't just tracking things.
So he's been, stalking, tracking.
They're being used to track people.
I think my mom put a tracker in his car.
It sounds like it's coming from right in there.
I track from my job.
Without their knowledge. Tech expert Albert Fox-Kahn says they're a major safety risk.
The thing that makes AirTags so, dangerous is the fact they're so small and so easy to hide.
At just the size of a quarter, with a price tag that's less than a tank of gas, these trackers are sparking stalking complaints all over the country. From St. Louis.
You don't know if they're trying to get you, if they want your car, if they're trying to break into your house.
To Nashville.
We'd like to know who it was and why they were tracking us.
I just got to the point where it scared me.
This man called police in Georgia when he found not just an AirTag, but a weapon left behind his seat.
Finding a knife in my car, that scares me.
What are the biggest dangers of unwanted tracking?
We've seen allegations that people have used AirTags to stalk, to, plan violent crimes, to know when someone's not home for a burglary.
So what can you do to stay safe if you think you're being tracked? Well, first, if you get this notification on your phone, experts say you should go straight to a police department. Then, on that notification, you can press this button, which will play a sound to help you locate that unwanted AirTag. Once you find it, police should be able to scan it to try and see who it belongs to.
In some states, people behind unwanted tracking can get arrested. But 24 states do not have any laws tied to unwanted tracking. And 3 of those states that tried to implement new laws haven't seen any legislation pass. In response to concerns, Apple updated the technology with new privacy warnings, louder beeps to help you locate them, faster alerts of a potential unwanted AirTag. But Kahn says it isn't enough.
Is there a safe version of AirTags that can exist?
The only safe version of an AirTag is an AirTag that's being pulled from the market.
And he warns the positives of finding your missing keys or stolen car.
Everywhere I went today, it tracked.
Don't outweigh the negatives.
They can truly happen to anyone or anywhere.
Apple declined to comment on the story, but told us it condemns unwanted tracking and is actively working with law enforcement.
Apple also says it plans to update AirTag safety warnings in the future. Simple acts create stronger bonds and a sense of belonging.
I do mail, garbage, flowers.
Still ahead, see how one man's selflessness transformed an entire neighborhood.
Plus, claims of relief for chronic pain sufferers.
She had a huge decrease in pain, and tender points started dropping off, and her activity levels started going up.
We sit down with doctors who say a new treatment for fibromyalgia could drastically reduce pain for some patients.
Our in-depth coverage continues. You can get connected to Investigate TV Plus on all social media platforms.
A new therapy claims to bring more relief to chronic pain sufferers.
The CDC reports 4 million adults in the U.S. have fibromyalgia, and most of them are women.
The symptoms include chronic widespread pain and tenderness, as well as sleep problems and fatigue. The cause is not known, but the CDC says the pain can be managed.
Reporter Jen Pachano shows us how a treatment developed in Northeast Ohio uses light to potentially ease pain.
I mean, a lot of people describe it as being either having the flu and falling down the stairs, or some people say they feel like they got hit by a truck.
Donna Penner has been suffering from chronic pain for more than 2 decades.
It changes every day. It changes where the pain is. It changes the severity of the pain.
When she described her symptoms, a doctor quickly diagnosed her with fibromyalgia.
He proceeded to prescribe various medications for me, none of which helped.
In our mind, there was a lot of misdiagnosis of fibromyalgia, and there was also a lot of concern in terms of patients just being prescribed medications. And the medications weren't always even meant for fibro, it's just that they affected some relief in about 10 to 25% of the patients.
Tom Kelly, global president of Multi-Radiance Medical in Solon, says their laser therapy technology was first FDA approved for pain management and accelerated healing.
We've done very well in the sports medicine market, where we probably have over 200 and some lasers in major professional sports teams as well as major colleges. In fact, most of the pro sports champions have all used our lasers.
Dr. Timothy Demchak is an athletic trainer who was using multi-radiance laser treatment in his clinic when he had an idea.
And I had a patient come with fibromyalgia, and we started new laser work with pain or decreasing pain, so we tried it on her, and she had a huge decrease in pain, and tender points started dropping off, and her activity levels started going up. Like, this is really cool.
He had more fibromyalgia patients come in who experienced similar successes in reducing tender points and pain levels significantly. That kicked off a decade of research and several case studies that were equally encouraging, followed by FDA approval for the FiberLux. How does it work on the pain?
What the lights do mean is it's causing vasodilation or increasing blood flow to the area, and also inhibiting those nerves from sending a signal to the brain.
The patients don't feel a thing during treatment, but the results and the relief can be instant.
Their pain decreases almost immediately. So they'll tell me they have a pain level of like an 8 out of 10 at their tender spot, and when we're done, it has dropped to a 4.
Wow.
So again, we talk about 14 tender spots, and that's all dropping. They're like, wow.
During a 3-week clinical study, patients got 9 treatments, 2 minutes on each tender point, after which they reported a little over a 50% decrease in pain and 50% decrease in tender points. Those in the study who added exercise saw even greater positive effects, a 70% decrease in pain and almost an 80% decrease in tender points.
Most of them just stopped their medications because they didn't need them anymore.
The intense decrease in pain is allowing these fibromyalgia patients to finally be active again.
What we found is it's a combination of both laser reducing pain and the ability to exercise that is really beneficial.
I have absolutely, and I'm a skeptic, I have to tell you, I have absolutely noticed that the pain and the tenderness is much less.
Donna is ready to get moving again with much less pain.
As long as the light therapy has been prescribed, it can be done during an office visit with physicians, chiropractors, or physical therapists. However, the price will depend on where you go to get the treatments, and you'll need to check your insurance to see if it's covered.
From chicken dinners and pizza parties to grabbing mail and watering plants, one neighborhood has a lot of love for less.
Up next, meet the man bringing his community together, one small gesture at a time.
We just love you. You do so much for all of us.
I'm Viv Williams with a medical myth buster moment. Can't lose weight no matter how hard you try? Experts at Vanderbilt University say that diet and exercise alone rarely results in successful weight loss for people with severe obesity. In that case, weight loss surgery may be an option. But the Vanderbilt experts want you to beware of a myth they published on their website. Weight loss surgery is an easy way out. While experts agree surgeries such as gastric bypass or sleeve gastrectomy can be very effective, they are not easy. Preparing for and recovering from surgery takes time, effort, and many follow-up appointments. For the right people, weight loss surgery can help to improve overall health and quality of life. With this medical mythbuster, I'm Viv Williams.
We all have neighbors, and one neighborhood outside Richmond, Virginia says they lucked out with this man who's managed to bring them all together.
Reporter Ashley Hendrick shows us how he's inspired each of them with small gestures of kindness.
Coming home in this Glen Allen neighborhood got a little sweeter about 12 years ago. That's when Les Douglas and his wife Isabel moved in, and it didn't take long for them to get comfortable.
I do mail, garbage, flowers.
Every day, you'll find the 85-year-old keeping up with his neighbors' yards and setting off Ring doorbell notifications in the process. Kamala Arango quickly realized just how lucky she was to live right across the street.
There have been at least 3 occasions we've been put out of this house because of flood or a burst pipe or just, and we have went to their house and lived in their house for weeks. And they fed us every day.
Although the two share the same birthday, this special treatment isn't just for the Arango family. The entire community has gotten in on his generosity, nicknaming him the mayor.
I heard somebody out trimming my azaleas last week, and he had his little clippers out and trimming the azaleas in the back.
He waters their plants, he takes in their mail, he walks their dogs. Then he takes care of a lot of people who need help in the neighborhood, so he drives them to their appointments.
All out of the goodness of his heart. The Scotland native moved to Glen Allen from Ohio, and since settling in, weekly traditions have turned these neighbors into family.
Every Monday is chicken night, so he gets a rotisserie chicken or two, depending on who's coming. And then on Fridays, it's pizza night, and everyone usually brings an appetizer, and then he gets the pizzas. And they won't let anybody pay for it.
It didn't take long for us to see for ourselves why there's so much love for less.
What's he doing? Okay.
Watering the flowers.
Is he watering?
There he was, caught in the act of kindness.
We just love you. You do so much for all of us.
Oh, but I like doing that.
I know you do.
And I've never been in a neighborhood like this with the friends that we've got. I was worried when I moved from Ohio that I didn't know anybody, and I'd been in the same neighborhood in Ohio for 30 years. Came down here, and boy, did I get a surprise.
At the center of contagious laughter and warm hugs nestled in this community,
I love you too,
is a man who's doing exactly what his father taught him, to love thy neighbor.
If they need help, I'm there. I don't want to be nosy or anything like that. If they need me, I'll be there for them.
You know, we all need good neighbors who are looking out for the neighborhood.
I want to live in Les's neighborhood.
Seriously.
So he can water my
your
flowers.
plants, take your mail in.
Cook my chicken.
Yes.
All of that.
You like a good rotisserie chicken, right?
I do.
There you go. All right.
Well, that's going to do it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm T. Chappelle.
And I'm Lee Zurich. Thanks for watching. Next time on Investigate TV Plus, a conversation about car safety.
We're gonna back out to the left.
More teens die in crashes than any other age group, even as fewer are rushing to get their driver's license. The key role parents play if your teen waits to get behind the wheel.